Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
It's another week and another right-hand turn on the schedule this week for week number 9. It's a new configuration, and it's here tonight at North Carolina. Charlotte Motor Speedway ROVAL Racing, presented by Racing Revolution. It's the Coastal Financial Truck Series here on Vspeed. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host and presented here tonight for the Coastal Financial 68 as we go 30 laps around the Charlotte ROVAL. And a driver that has had a lot of success this season in both series looks to add another one to the win column. That's Jeremy Burns with 4 wins in the Truck Series. Good possibility that he'll find his way to victory lane again here today. Did a fantastic job getting around at the Chicago Street Course. But this racetrack, a little bit different. 16 turns around this venue, and as we take a look at our track map, Charlotte ROVAL has different disciplines. It has the banking of Charlotte, so you are going to be on the oval at certain points, and it's very difficult to gear this car, get it set up for all of these flat corners on the infield and the rolling chicanes on the backstretch and out of the turn 4 exit just by the pit wall. It is going to test these drivers every single lap. Staying focused is going to be the biggest feat of the night. And as we take a look at our race analysis here, it's 30 laps, 45 mile per hour pit road speed limit. Admin only cautions here tonight, 75% fuel with 4 tire sets available. And of course, that stage lap at lap 10 on the iRacing fixed setup. But with that, we got some drivers that are just finishing up on their qualifying times. A few of them still going around this place trying to get some extra time in the warm-ups. And going back to what we had at the start of this week, a lot of people dreading this place initially. We brought it up on the schedule, a little bit lower of a car count this week. So we're seeing Justin Ritchie drive around right now, just now coming out of pit road. He has the 21 there of Ryan Comer just behind him. But I talked to a lot of these guys before the week started. You had guys like Trevor Keith and go back to Dakota Floyd. There's a few of them that felt like they could have done better at the last road course. And so the time has definitely been put in to get good here. However, I still think everybody's going to be racing for second spot. Jeremy Burns has been bad fast at every one of these road courses that we went to this season. However, Cody Anderson looks like he put some practice time in, and he had a lot of success there just a couple weeks ago when we went out to Chicago. And had he not made that mistake there and hit the pit wall, I think he probably would have had a top 3 finish. So hopefully he can stay focused. I said it the best I could at the start of this intro, that it's going to come down to just staying focused, racing the racetrack. It seems like every time you start to look at the delta, start focusing on the guy in front of you, that's when the mistakes start to be made. You try to outbrake one another, you start slipping and sliding around this place, and pretty soon you make an error that you can't recover from. We've seen it time and time again here on Vspeed. With that, though, it's time to take you down trackside, as we already are. We're about to hit that reset button and get all these cars set up for the grid. So let's go ahead and put it up on the screen. Starting on the top spot here tonight, it's going to be Jeremy Burns with a 1:21 21.991. That is 4/10 of a second faster than Tyler Harrison in the 45, but Harrison putting it on the top row, 72.45 for row number 1. Trevor Keith will start in the 3rd position. Justin Ritchie, who got a stage win at Chicago Street Course, will start in the 4th position. This spot goes to Cody Anderson in the number 20, Justice Murphy in 6th spot. And we'll go back to 7th with Grant Turner. Dakota Floyd going to start in 8th. Morgan Cook in the 51 will start in 9th. Grant Thorpe, who had a great week in Atlanta, got a runner-up finish there by a couple hundredths of a second. He'll start in 10th. Alex Forget Berube and Kevin Orlando Jr. will go for row number 6, and Nick Alves, Michael Reed for row number 7. Jackson McGeorge and Ryan Comer, 15th, 16th spot. And then we go back to 17th position with Caleb Gilbert, the 22 of Travis Gilbert. These drivers electing not to take a qualifying time, and it looks like electing not to grid here, as you see Parker Johnston and Chris Dale also electing not to get on that grid here tonight. It takes a minute to pace around this place, so I say let's go find a driver here in the Discord if we can. Let's go ahead and let's pull Tyler Harrison into the broadcast booth. Tyler, it's Bradley Cooper in Vspeed's booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys. What's up?
Well, Tyler, starting on the outside here. It was about 0.3 of a second, but what is that in the big course of things? What do we have in store for us tonight? Top 3?
I'm hoping that's the case. You know, the Avid Studios truck is feeling pretty decent around here. I'm definitely not the best road racer by any metric, so really I'm just out here to try and get as many points as I can, hopefully pick up some points at the stage. About 27 points below the cut line, so just trying to gain as most as I can to put myself in a playoff position here and maybe set myself up for a win later on in the season before the playoffs start.
Well, we've had the Rally Daddy Twisted T-Cam on the Cup Series. Now we need to figure out an Advent Studios camera of some kind. Tyler, good luck out there tonight. Anybody want to shout out real quick while we have you up here?
Oh, yeah, just everybody that's been on the truck this season, along with the Cup car so far. Shout out to Racing Revolution, of course, and all the sponsors, and you guys for always putting on a good broadcast. So should be a fun one to watch, and have fun up at the booth there. It'll be a good one for you guys to call.
BDE driver Tyler Harrison going to start outside the front row. Be careful there on that final chicane for this start.
I'll try.
So here we go for 30 laps, 10 laps in stage 1. Jeremy Burns, Tyler Harrison, Trevor Keith, Justin Ritchie, and Cody Anderson on that top 5. And a lot of names that we're familiar with at these road courses did quite well just a couple weeks ago when we went to Chicago Street Course. So I think we're going to pick up right where we left off. Does the 72 try to split the run? His hand was forced there last time at Chicago. Some of these guys short pitted to try to undercut and get ahead for the stage reset. But here we go from Charlotte Roval, week number 9. Coastal Financial Truck Series Racing Revolution. Contact there as we're coming out of the chicane on the backstretch. Looking back there with Morgan Cook, he lost about 3 positions. He was right on the back bumper of Grant Turner going into that chicane, coming out of the infield. And we'll have to go back on our Vspeed instant replay. But Jeremy Burns is going to lead lap number 1 by a long shot. Already pulls out to 1.6 seconds on this initial lap. Now let's check back into what happened to Morgan Cook here. We see him coming out. This is coming out of the infield. We were riding on board with the 7 of Turner, looking back at the 51. Let's see if we can get a better angle at this. There's contact there with him and the 7. And then the 51 has Thorpe just behind him, and I don't think he can get it going again. Maybe a penalty for contact. I'm not entirely sure. But checks it up, backs it up to 11th position. And as we go back to the live shot, Alex Forget, Grant Thorpe, Justice Murphy, all these trucks right on top of one another, going through around turns 7 and 8. Coming back out onto the racetrack, you can see Dakota Floyd side by side with his teammate in the number 6 of Justin Ritchie. And Ritchie has lost 3 spots already, back to 7th to start this thing off. So through this chicane, it's going to be a very difficult portion of this racetrack. We'll look off the back end of Grant Thorpe. He just got around Justin Ritchie as well. That's another spot lost for the number 6, down 4. Starting up in that top 5 and already kind of bleeding, hemorrhaging positions. 15 of Trevor Keith, though, has held on to 3rd. Well, when someone's going down, someone else is going up. Dakota Floyd on the move. Grant Thorpe up 3. Another driver in the back of this field who elected not to take a time here today, and he's already gained 3 spots. It's Caleb Gilbert in the 54. Started back at 17th, now up to 14th. So we're looking at the battle here for 3rd position. Cody Anderson bringing the heat. Hot on the heels of Trevor Keith. We're already a third of the way through this run for stage number 1. This one's going to go by quickly. Burns continues to pull that lead out. It's now over 3 seconds. The see just on the edge of your screen there as he goes through that backstretch chicane. Cody Anderson, last time by, was faster than both Trevor Keith and Tyler Harrison. It's just going to be a matter of, can he do anything with it? It's so difficult to pass at this racetrack. And we got a car around. That's Alex Forget and Justice Murphy through the backstretch chicane. And it looks like the 19 and the 12 get together. The 19 has locked it up going into the entry of this corner. Let's back it up one more time. We'll try to ride with our low blimp camera and get a good angle of this. But you'll watch the back tires lock up on the 19. He's trying to chase it into the corner without locking it up more. You see him wiggle right there. The 12 didn't lock it up, had a good entry, but just couldn't go anywhere with it. And he'll get into the back of Alex Forget. Watch it one more time on board with the 12. Just nowhere to go here. So they get their trucks turned back around, but that's 8 positions lost now. Justice Murphy back to 14th. Alex Forget down 2, back to 13th spot. And we've got trucks wrapping almost all the way around this place already. As they come back out onto the oval part of this racetrack, Jeremy Burns is on the other side of it right now. Just now coming out of turn 4, what would be NASCAR 4, going into turns 15 and 16 to cross the line for lap number 5. Burns, no surprises here, 5 seconds ahead. So let's focus on board with the number 72. Ride around with that driver camera. Ingenuity Power System 72 has led 4 laps so far. We're taking a ride on board to see how it is to get around this place. A lot of smooth driving. I've not seen him step the back end out too much. Cutting the edge of that corner just right to get the run into NASCAR 1 and 2. This is about around, I think, turn 11 is what this is considered. The chicane is just really relaxed. It's backing up these entries, getting a good exit, because you really have to carry the speed on the NASCAR oval side of this racetrack. That's where you can lose a lot of time. If you make a mistake coming out of these chicanes, it can really break the entire run. We're talking, half a second can be lost in one of those turns. And riding right on the grass there. Just try to get it as wide as possible. And that's a lap around with Jeremy Burns. Checking back here with Tyler Harrison. He is pulled away from Trevor Keith. It is a 2.5 second gap between second and third spot. Harrison has started out solid up in the top row. Has held on to it ever since. We will re-rack these drivers on lap 10, so still a chance that something could go wrong for these drivers that obviously put a lot of practice in. Would be frustrating if they got caught up in something. We've already seen that here tonight for a couple other drivers, such as Justice Murphy and the 77 of Grant Thorpe, but Thorpe has recovered. Morgan Cook off the racetrack here in turn 4. And he's still struggling to get the handling back under him. Cook is sideways. Let's go back on the replay and see what happened to the 51. Now just a little too aggressive on the brakes on the entry of that corner. Glides it out around. He's going to fall back to 12th now as that settles out. That'll put Michael Reed up to 11th, just outside of the points-paying positions. Coming up on 4 laps left in stage number 1, Michael Reed is 3.5 seconds back from Nick Alves, who's hanging on to that top 10. I was watching again last time by. Anderson lost a little bit of ground to Trevor Keith. He was about 3/10 slower that time. A little mistake for the 20. But in the grand scheme of things, has hung with him the whole time. Dakota Floyd also working his way towards Cody Anderson and Trevor Keith. Floyd looking like his long run pace might put him in a podium spot. Truck sideways, that's Grant Thorpe, or Grant Turner rather, in the number 7. And it looks like maybe they're struggling a little bit on his handling here on board with the 7 car. Got his victory, locked himself into the playoffs. Atlanta Motor Speedway won by just a few hundredths of a second. I believe it was 17 hundredths of a second. It's an incredible close finish that Atlanta's known for. It was Grant Thorpe who was to his inside on that final exit of the final corner. We need to get that pedal camera turned on. So let's get that. You can see him breaking it down the gears with the throttle pedal, not using that clutch at all. A lot of throttle input there on the exit of turn 16, but he is catching up to Dakota Floyd here. Floyd made a mistake, lost a lot of ground. 57 looks like he might have got a cutting the course penalty. So let's go see if we can find what happened to Floyd here. He jumped the curb there, and that's going to get him at least a 1 second slowdown. You can see he's going to let all these trucks by now. But he definitely caught some hang time. Let's see if we can back that up one more time. We'll go right here where Dakota Floyd is going to catch some monster air. I think all 4 tires on that truck leave the ground right here. An amazing job to not lose control of it at the very least. But Floyd ends up losing some positions as a result. Jeremy Burns going to undercut on the stage. Another not surprising moment. He did it last time at Chicago Street Course. He did it at COTA in the Cup Series, and here he is doing it again, trying to undercut this strategy and come back out. When the stage ends, he will have the lead and will cycle back through. So Tyler Harrison looking to get a stage win. Said he was behind that cutoff line. We were talking about, I believe, over 20 points there that he needs to make up, and not many weeks left to do it as we're past the halfway mark in the regular season. 9 weeks in for Coastal Financial, Racing Revolution, and their truck series. They've been going since back in February when we started off the season. So Harrison going to come by to get the white flag this next time around. Has a handful more turns in the backstretch chicane. A pretty sizable gap back there to Trevor Keith of 3.5 seconds. And Cody Anderson still keeping the 15 truck honest. On board with Anderson here. As we come by for the white flag this time around. One more time. For this top 3, it's looking pretty good. Michael Reed found his way into the top 10 because of a mistake made by Jackson McGeorge. And Justin Ritchie falling out of the top 10. We continue to ride around here with Anderson trying to find one more position. What's that second spot? He got it at Chicago. Going to try to get it here at the ROVAL. Not a good exit that time. Harrison back onto the NASCAR oval portion of things out of turn 11. Back up onto the racing surface. Sizable gap, but Anderson hot on the heels again. Had a decent exit through that portion of the racetrack, but got a cutting penalty. Something happened to the 20. He lost about 4/10 of a second there on that exit. Wasn't able to get it going. Really drove it deep there into the backstretch chicane. As now you see the 45 of Harrison going to come around and claim stage number 1 here from the ROVAL. He almost put Morgan Cook a lap down. Cook probably thankful that the stage is going to end right here. And here's your stage winner. Tyler Harrison in the number 45 is going to lock it up here in week number 9. Michael Reed just now coming through NASCAR 3 and 4. And now across that stripe, stage complete here. Congratulations to the top 10, with Harrison getting the win. Keith, Anderson, Turner, Floyd, Thorpe, Orlando, Burns, Alves, and Reed in those 10 spots. So there's your stage winner getting caught up to the pace truck. Long road to get back up here. Until they catch up to that pace truck, no one can come down pit road. Most likely going to catch it this time around. And you're going to see the remaining portion of this field, with the exception of Alex Forget and Jeremy Burns, pull it down in. And remember, Forget had gotten spun there. He had brought it down. It's actually Justin Ritchie who undercut, so it wasn't the 19 that pit. I remember he had contact with the 77 and the 12. Never could recover that. It was Justin Ritchie who fell out of the top 10. I thought Ritchie had made a mistake, but he actually hit pit road, so there's that variable that the 6 truck will be able to stay out on the racetrack. He does have 3 laps technically on his tires, but he's in the same boat as the 72. I think we're about to see Justin Ritchie find his way up to a possible podium finish. So with that, we're going to pace around this place, and as exciting as pit stops probably will be, it's going to be a while before we get back around that portion of the racetrack. So we're going to take a quick commercial break here on Vspeed. Again, you are watching the Coastal Financial Truck Series presented by Racing Revolution. More coverage will continue here on Vspeed right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back here to our coverage of week number 9 from the Charlotte ROVAL, the Coastal Financial Truck Series. Drivers had just brought it down pit road here, and we'll get a look at these pit stops as we rewind a little bit. It was a long road to pit road, but now that we got them there, Tyler Harrison put on some 4 fresh ones, and you have Jeremy Burns and Justin Ritchie, who had short pitted on that stage, down and away for all these drivers, and this is how they came off. Very tight exit on pit road here for Cody Anderson and Trevor Keith. And a few drivers getting some damage repair there with Morgan Cook, Caleb Gilbert, and a few others stayed in to try to get things fixed up. But now at this point, Jeremy Burns is taking back the top spot, and we should get the 1-to-go signal this time by the Ingenuity Power Systems number 72. Silverado will lead them out of that final chicane to get that 1-to-go. He will also lead double file with Justin Ritchie to his outside. Doubling back up here at the ROVAL. Hope you're enjoying tonight's action. But if we're being completely honest, it's going to be a tall order for anybody to compete here with Jeremy Burns. He has been 3 to 4 tenths faster the entire race. Even his best lap time is a full second faster than most of this field. And if I rank best laps comparatively, he's got a 1:21.647 in this event. Closest to that lap time here tonight is a 1:22.495, and that was ran by Cody Anderson. So that should tell you right there, it's almost a full second difference with the lap times, and what Jeremy Burns has been able to do here in this truck series has been nothing short of amazing. You go over to the Cup Series, it seems a lot more competitive in that Cup car. That's a car that a lot of drivers still aren't comfortable racing, but we've been with the same truck for about 5 to 6 years. I know they remodeled these things right around 2018, and we've had this for quite a while now on the iRacing service. They've had some variants and changes, minor, body tweaks to these trucks, but for the most part, the power and the handling has stayed the same. And even with the new tire model, these guys have been pretty comfortable driving with it. So if you've had a lot of experience, if you were training racing on this simulator for a long time in this particular vehicle, of course you're going to have that confidence, and I think that's what we're seeing at these road courses, at least for Jeremy Burns' case. Some of these other guys did put the time in, though. The due diligence that they need to keep pace with the 72. Got to cut it out there to Tyler. He got the stage win, so he will have that helping him out in the points. Of course, 2 lead changes, 1 caution only for that stage. We have not had a caution for anything else. The admins have not had to throw a yellow for any truck blockage on this race so far. But we're going to go back green with just about 15 laps to go. So these drivers are also good, I believe, on fuel. The distance, it's going to be a little close, but I think they're all okay to make it on fuel. These guys that undercut the run, though, they might be in a little bit different of an area. I know they've already done the math. They've probably talked about how that would work out. And so I'm confident if 2 drivers tried it, it's probably going to work out. All right, iRacing pace car for the second time today going to move to the left-hand side of pit road. We're going to come through turns 15 and 16 to take that green flag and go back racing. Week number 9, stage number 2, the Charlotte ROVAL back underway for Coastal Financial. Already Burns finds his way single file. There's some racing going on in the background back here, though, with Cody Anderson and Trevor Keith. Anderson on the outside. Not the preferred way to get around, but he makes it work. Meanwhile, behind that, you've got Grant Turner and Dakota Floyd. This shaping up with Kevin Orlando Jr. up 4 positions after pit stops. Sends it out a little bit wide here, though, through turns 6 and 7. Has to gather it back up. A little bit of tire smoke back here. I think that was Jackson McGeorge who spun the tires a little bit there on the exit before transitioning back up here on the oval surface. into the chicane. We've had some problems here earlier, and now we're having problems again. The 15 and the 57, the 27. 4 or 5 trucks involved. Kevin Orlando and Dakota Floyd go around. We got to go back on an instant replay here. What happens to the 57 truck? A big stack up here. He got to the left-hand side of Keith. Keith probably not happy with that drive in, but there was a huge check up there and a bigger stack up even after that. Morgan Cook benefited the most from this. He gained about 7 positions from that. He went from 16th up to 9th in just that transition. But it happens that fast here. And now Dakota Floyd, who started up towards the top 10, was as high as 5th spot when that happened. Now back in 13th. And Orlando, also one of those trucks that lost a lot. Trevor Keith was able to recover a lot faster than those other two. They continued to have contact through that portion of the racetrack well after everyone else had got back going. And you saw there with Alex Forget, Caleb Gilbert, and a few others, that stack up caused some damage. The 54 of Gilbert has right front nose damage, right front fender a little bit crinkled in, and that will hurt his straightaway and speed in this portion of the racetrack right here. You see Morgan Cook starting to drive away a little bit. Take a ride on board with the 19 of Alex Forget. He's had a rough go at it as well. Remember, he had contact. As you see the 54 get sideways there, Alex Forget's going to find his way around for a top 10 now. But you've got a few of these drivers that have been trapped now in the back. Justice Murphy, early exit to this event, the 12 truck out of this race. Jackson McGeorge off the racing surface there, and he'll fall back to 16th as we have side by side with Comer and a truck around. That's the 21. And Jackson McGeorge off the racetrack. 2 incidents simultaneously. Well, let's find the 21 first. So McGeorge was struggling on the handling, but off the racetrack, tries to slide it back onto the surface. There's a slide there from the 98, and then we go into this portion of the racetrack. It's going to go sideways again. The 19 of Forget was the one that was actually off the racing surface. Let's see what happened to him. Gilbert had gotten loose, and then we were just on board with the 19. And he goes sideways. Checking back in, though, this battle is spread out a little bit. Here's Dakota Floyd working on a position as they go into turn 1. They'll clear around Caleb Gilbert back into the top 10 now for the 57. Meanwhile, Trevor Keith and Grant Turner going back and forth for a position. Turner with a little bit of right front damage on that machine. And it looks like Keith going to have the advantage. He'll get around or try to clear the 7. Not this time, and he will now as they come back onto the oval surface. Let's ride on board with Trevor Keith. It's been difficult for some of these guys today, but a nice recovery for the 15. After that contact on the bus stop chicane on that restart for stage 2, they could have all went wrong. He was able to get it back underneath of him, and now proceeds to stay in 5th, pulling away from Grant Turner. Trevor Keith, definitely a fast truck, but sliding through those final 2 corners. Got to be careful. Grant Turner, Grant Thorpe keeping the 15 on us. Grant Thorpe is all over the back end of Turner now. Where did we see this just last week? We're gonna look to the inside. 7 kind of cut the nose off, got a little bit loose there. Thorpe's gonna try to get the run, bobbles it a little bit. I don't think he's going to have it this time. He'll have to try to outbreak him in this next section. See if he can do so. Not this time around, but the 77 is looking faster. Speaking of looking faster, Morgan Cook, who struggled in that first stage of this race up to 9th. He's recovered nicely as well. Then you have your stage winner, Tyler Harrison. Cody Anderson got around the number 45. So I'm not really sure where that went down, but a pass there for second position. And Ryan Comer may have crashed just a couple laps ago. We've got a few more drivers that have left this session. Jackson McGeorge is out. Ryan Comer is still out on the racetrack, but struggling here back in 15th position. So there's Jeremy Burns with a 5-second lead going out into turns 7 through 11, coming out of that portion of the center of the track, now to the back stretch. The 72 is in another area code here tonight. Just, I mean, we go through it every week. We talk about it. We try to pump these guys up and talk, a little bit, try to create some hype around how the race could go and what the outcomes could be. But if you let this guy get in clean air at a road course, it's pretty much over with. We haven't seen anyone contest him here in the Truck Series yet at a road circuit. And he's tough to beat in the Cup Series. We've had 2 seasons, a season and a half now covered there roughly for Racing Rev, and there's just been 2 consistent things. A road course win for Jeremy Burns, and then a championship from Rob Rader. That's been the 2 constants in all the seasons, as far as I know, Racing Rev, even the ones we didn't cover. So it's not surprising, the performance that he's putting on out here, but I would like to see, some of these guys are performing well. We don't want to take away from that. I mean, we've got Cody Anderson, who had a lot of success there at Chicago, like I said, had a mistake there under pace laps, tore the fender off of it, ended his day, looking to recover from that. And, that's one of those just demoralizing races where you put all that time in practice and you just make a mistake under pacing at that. So for Anderson, for Harrison, all these guys, Richie, who chose to undercut that strategy the same as the 72. It looks like it's paid some dividends. Richie was outside the top 5 there for a while, finds himself in 4th position. I mean, kudos to all these guys. They're thinking outside the box. They're doing whatever they can to try to get an edge over one another. We're starting to see a battle shape back up, though, for that second position. Harrison keeping the 20 within reach, on board with your stage winner. And I gotta say, I absolutely love to see how many trucks have the Vspeed logo on them. It's surreal to think 4 or 5 years ago this was just a dream and a hobby for most of us, and now some of us do it full time. So again, shout out to all of you that tune into these broadcasts. Come back and watch them on a weekly basis, even if your favorite driver doesn't perform well, or even to the drivers in the leagues that make this possible. Rob Rader, Nick Alves, the guys over here at Racing Rev that have us, all the other leagues that put this together, really does justify what we do. So again, a thank you out to everyone that's been a part of this from the start and in the future here on Vspeed. We thank you very, very much. Jeremy Burns, Cody Anderson, Tyler Harrison, the top 3. And we're under 10 laps to go. Man, they're ticking by quick. We've only been out here for what feels like 20 minutes, but it's actually been about a 45-minute race so far. And the way these laps are ticking away, we still have a solid 8 to 9 minutes left in this race, left to be done. As you see side by side here with Trevor Keith and Justin Ritchie. Ritchie locked it up going into 15, but able to defend enough. That kind of sent Trevor Keith out wide, so he could not get that drive off. It's back to the drawing board. Grant Thorpe sneaking his way closer to this battle. Another battle on the racetrack for 12th spot here with Michael Reed, Alex Forget. Forget has went around a couple times here today. He has the speed. He's been able to put up some good lap times, just not able to stay consistent. Last time by a minute, and he's going to slide it again, locks it up. Looks like that brake pedal needs calibrated on the 19 machine. It might be the right foot that needs calibrated. I'm not sure. It just looks like it's been a rough ride here tonight for Alex Forget. It's kind of a polar opposite. We've seen him do well at these road course events as well. I seem to recall a top 3 last year at COTA. I could be wrong on that. Maybe it was Watkins Glen. I was covering one of those races. He is struggling here tonight. This track, the weather we didn't get a chance to talk about, but it's only 91 degrees on this track temp. But those rear tires are gone. And unfortunately here for Alex Forget, this is just going to be another one of those road course races gone wrong from the 19 team. Battle continues for second. Tyler Harrison, Cody Anderson. They went back and forth a couple times. They haven't had any haymakers yet, but I think the 45 is getting a little bit impatient with the 20 defending these corners. You look, he overdrives there on the exit of turn 4 and 5. Looking off the back end of the 20. Harrison's doing everything he can to hang with him. You don't want to burn it up, though. He is running out of laps. He does need to somehow get around Anderson, but Anderson keeping that second spot. 7 seconds, almost 8 back from the 72 of Burns. And Dakota Floyd brings it down pit road here. Looks like the 57 getting serviced. And he's getting some damage repair. I'm not sure if he's just done for the day. Floyd with a penalty. Might have... I don't have an incident count. It doesn't seem to work here. But there is a drive-through penalty for too many incident points, and that might be what happened here to Dakota Floyd. He might be exceeding that as he'll go a lap down. He's continuing to stay here in the pit lane. So I'm not sure if he's just got voluntold down pit road or if he's just volunteered to park it for the night. We'll go back and find Dakota Floyd did have an incident, so we'll go back on the replay and find what happened here, and that might be why he's down pit road. He actually cuts the race course, gets sideways there a little bit. I think it's going to be going into 1 or 2 that Nick Alves gets sideways. Nowhere for Floyd to go. It wasn't just Alves. It was Morgan Cook who's trying to get a little bit better angle on this. You're going to see Alves just on the bottom of your screen get sideways. And then Floyd just has nowhere to go. Cook gets a piece of it. And then we were talking about Alex Forget. We'll go to a replay shot of that as well. Alex Forget lost it again here. He's still struggling on that handling as he comes out sideways. Actually, I think we caught that there for the 19. Since then, it's been, an off track here, an off track there, but now a pass for position. Tyler Harrison had almost gotten around the 20 machine. And let's see if we can go back and see what that was all about. I think we're starting to see those haymakers that we were talking about. There's the pass for the spot. Locks it up. He got the spot there. 5 laps to go. That's where he needed to do it, but we went back to the live shot, and it looked like Okay, so yeah, we weren't back live. It was actually just prior to that the 45 had gotten around on the shot that we were showing before that replay. But we are back to the live shot now. I can confirm that what you're seeing on your screen is accurate. Jeremy Burns continues his tear at the ROVAL with 5 laps to go and an almost 8-second lead. Anderson falls back to third. Has a pretty good gap, though. A nice cushion back to the 15 of Trevor Keith. But then it's Grant Thorpe, Justin Ritchie, all in this grouping, fighting for the top 5. Camera placed down in those rumble strips. You're seeing those drivers clip that portion of the racetrack, but they have to be careful it doesn't shoot that truck up in the air. You get too close to it, it'll hit the turtles. It'll actually toss that truck up in the air. It's the blue portion of those rumble strips, so there's kind of 2 layers to that. There's a flat spot on the rumble strip, and then there's a part that you don't want to hit. Burns coming out of NASCAR 1 and 2 down the backstretch. Grant Thorpe getting closer and closer to Keith. Can he pick up 4th position from the number 15? Not a good exit there through that chicane. Lost all of that ground. He had it down to just under a second. It was about 8/10. But now out of that exit, it's up to almost 1.5 seconds. Not a good drive off there for Grant Thorpe. Trevor Keith kind of stuck in the middle of no man's land. He's got about a 4-second gap in front of him. Thorpe, though, another great recovery. He was part of that contact in the first stage. Also had a piece of it in the second stage. So this truck has seen a little bit of everything tonight. Thorpe just wanting to bring it home at 5th spot. It would be back-to-back top 5s for the 77. Every little point counts here in the season. We were talking about the points. Speaking of such, we'll bring those up on the screen. Just as we hit that 3 to go mark. Jeremy Burns, of course, there with his 4 wins on the season and 100 points above the cutoff line. We were talking there to Harrison. He's 27 points out. He gets a stage win. He gets a lap lead, and he's looking like probably a 2nd place finish here tonight. That should help him at least get to that line, if not over it. Devin Hudgens, who has missed some weeks here, not out on the racetrack here tonight, will most likely lose some positions. You've got drivers like Harrison and Alves that will make up some spots on these guys that did not make it out here tonight, like Diaz, like Johnston, and a few others that just elected not to grid. But there's Trevor Earhart in the top 10. He's going to lose something. I mean, these guys missing the week. They do have drop weeks in the points, but you only get 2 weeks for a drop. And so if you chose to do it both at the road courses, well, you know, you better hope that the rest of the season goes perfect, because this is one of those racetracks that even if you hate it, you should just come out here and participate in it. To be quite honest, it's a free points day. I mean, you're almost guaranteed a top 10 at this point. We're 14 trucks left on the racetrack with 2 laps to go. And if you've kept this thing shiny side up, you still have 4 tires on it, I don't see why you couldn't pull off a top 10. Again, Dakota Floyd, Jackson McGeorge, and Justice Murphy early exits here tonight. Jeremy Burns, Tyler Harrison, and Cody Anderson, the top 3, as we'll come through 15 and 16 for the white flag. One more time around at the Charlotte ROVAL for Jeremy Burns. 8.6 seconds going into turn 1 on board with the 72. And he has no reason to push this thing. He just has to bring it home. He's going to drive it nice and relaxed here. He was actually a little bit slower than Harrison and Anderson the last time by, but he has no real reason to push the issue. And we got a truck up there just ahead, lap traffic. I think that's Ryan Comer in the 21. It is. He's going to go out wide and allow the 72 by. Very courteous there from Ryan Comer to let this leader go. But just, man, I got to say, congratulations to Burns. I mean, he's got it locked up. He has sealed the deal. He's led all but 4 or 5 laps here tonight. Come down early there on that stage, and most of the laps he did not lead were under pace laps. And, of course, he shortcut there. But he's going to come through the final 2 turns. Jeremy Burns, I know that we're trying to make this sound exciting, but we're not surprised. Jeremy Burns in the 72 is going to be victorious at the Charlotte Roval. How about that for the 72? Another one, the 5th win, I believe, of the season. And it comes at another road course as he actually slides it off there into the grass. We'll let him get his cool down lap in here before we pull him up into the broadcast booth. Tyler Harrison, Cody Anderson there for the top 3. Not much really changed. Justin Ritchie fell back to 6th spot, but still a top 10 day for the 6. Morgan Cook recovered nicely to 9th spot. And how about Kevin Orlando? He was one of those trucks on that restart that got turned around. He brought it back up to 8th after falling all the way back to around 14th position. Waiting on that post-race interview with your top spot. As he comes out of NASCAR 3 and 4, this will be the place to burn it down for the 72 in the Ingenuity Power Systems machine. Victorious again here for the Coastal Financial Truck Series. There he is on the front stretch. Jeremy Burns, it's Bradley Cooper in the Vspeed booth. Do you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Not surprised. That's all I have to say. I could make it sound surprising. I could add, all the hype that I possibly can at the start of this thing. But I saw practice. I saw qualifying. I knew what your strategy was before you even did it here tonight. You did it at COTA. You've done it at Chicago. Kudos to you, bud.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's always great to come back after a bye week like that where I was very sick, actually, so I didn't really get to practice a whole lot, but just be able to come back and get the momentum rolling in the right direction. You got to take advantage of those bye weeks because Lord knows that you don't get a whole lot of rest during the season, but just happy to come out here at the Roval. Take a lot of pride in this track. I love going to it. And, just really happy to get Ingenuity back in victory lane and see how long I can sustain this burnout for.
Well, we're gonna elongate it as well. We've got it in slow motion, so looks pretty sweet on our end of things. But Jeremy, let's go back. This is your 5th win of the season, so it's not just road courses that you're performing at. It's racetracks that we talked about last season. In the Cup Series, you had some struggles at certain places that might have ultimately costed you a championship. But this time around, you're performing at these racetracks that maybe you struggled with last year. and then adding to what you already had success with. It's looking like maybe a double header here, maybe a championship in both series.
That's the goal, right? But just trying to accumulate as many playoff points as I can. Today I had to give up the stage, right? Because you had Richie there who flipped it. Just trying to put myself in the best position possible to accumulate as many playoff points as possible. But at the end of the day, just like I said, trying to put myself in the best position going into the playoffs. Because at this point, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of how much, and just trying to put myself ahead of everybody when it comes to playoff time, because you never know, right?
Yeah.
You can have one bad race and it could be the end of your season, but as just try to gain that much of a cushion just to have, the ability to not have a up to par race for me. That's just kind of the goal at this point now for the rest of the regular season.
Well, we still have plenty of racing left to be done. I know after the bye week, and you went on to do some esports for the collegiate series, and how did that turn out? I know you were off there for Atlanta.
It went pretty good. I actually ended up coming back and racing in Atlanta, but just not a good strategy. But ended up finishing 17th in the nation. It's not anywhere near a win, but when you're racing against guys like Clamp and Steven Wilson, you end up getting a whole new respect and getting a little slice of that humble pie.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day,
I see it.
Yeah, and I mean those guys are just insane. So just really thankful to be able to represent Longwood and be on a national series like that, representing the top 25 drivers in the nation, to come out 17th after going into the night in 24th. So I just love being able to represent them, love representing the whole fight and what Longwood stands for. But just overall, it was a lot of fun, and we improved from last season. But yeah, definitely got a little slice of that humble pie in that race.
Well, I know that it could happen right around the corner here, like you were talking with the playoffs, but we go on to Kentucky in 1 week's time. Jeremy Burns adding his 5th win, more playoff points here for the 72. Anybody you want to shout out before we let you go for this victory?
Just a huge shout out to Ingenuity Power Systems for coming on board this season. Just so happy to get them in victory lane with all their support that they have towards me in the racing. My mom and dad, Josie, Dylan, Coach P, Sonny, my grandma, Miss Betsy, Julie, Derek, Caroline, Shannon, Belinda, Betty, Colleen, everybody over at Element X Performance, Metroplex for everything that they do over on the Cup side, Chapman Environmental, Buck Kicker, Coast Financial, Ultimate Exterior Light, Eric Holmes, All About Bugs, and of course you guys up here at Vspeed, y'all do a phenomenal job. And the admins and drivers for coming out and participating tonight. Definitely happy to see the guys up front that have been really putting in a bunch of work. Cody Anderson, Tyler Harrison, those guys have been putting in, a lot of laps. So really good to see them actually get rewarded tonight for it, and just ready to move on next week to, what'd you say, Kentucky?
Yeah, so we'll be going out there, just a Midwest state, another one of those. You know how it is.
Yeah, one of them flyovers, but definitely looking to take advantage over there and go to a place that I actually haven't raced at in a while, so really excited for it.
Jeremy Burns victorious the 5th time this season. Look forward to 1 week when we go to Kentucky. We'll see you after bed.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Bradley.
So with that, that's our victor here in the Coastal Financial Truck Series. And again, it's no surprise what he put together here. We saw the race times and what he did there at Chicago, so we knew it was going to be tough to beat the 72, and I think collectively everyone here should just unite against maybe trying to put that truck as far back in the field as possible. I don't know. It's going to take a lot to stop him, though. With that, though, it's time to go to a quick commercial break. We're going to round up those final race results. We still have some other drivers to talk to in our top 3. You are watching Coastal Financial Truck Series Racing Action presented by Racing Revolution. More post-race coverage continues on Vspeed right after this. Welcome back here to our coverage of the Coastal Financial Truck Series presented by Racing Revolution. We have concluded week number 9, 30 laps at the ROVAL tonight. It was Tyler Harrison who got the stage victory here today and can help himself out in the points. He will find his way to the top 3, but it was Jeremy Burns who got the victory. We're talking to the rest of this top 3 in just a moment's time. Final results up on your screen here. Tyler Harrison and Cody Anderson, second and third. Top 5 for Trevor Keith and Grant Thorpe in the 77, who started back in 10th, will gain 5 spots to be there. Then you have Justin Ritchie, a solid day for 6th position. Grant Turner, after the win last week, comes in here with a top 10 finish. Kevin Orlando, a nice recovery, up to 8th spot. Morgan Cook, another great recovery, 9th position. And then you have Caleb Gilbert rounding out your top 10. It's Michael Reed who's going to finish 11th with Nick Alves, who got sideways there and actually had some contact with the 57 of Floyd. We'll get to him in just a moment. Alex Forget, who I think went sideways more than anyone else here tonight, the 19, finishes 13th position. And you have Ryan Comer, who also had some struggles. He'll finish in 14th. These trucks had peeled it off of the racetrack tonight. Dakota Floyd, an early exit. He'll finish 5 laps down. Jackson McGeorge in 16th. He is 13 laps down. And it's Justice Murphy, who was the last truck to grid on this list. And of course, you've got the rest of this list with Gilbert, Johnston, and Nail electing not to start here tonight. With that, though, it's time to pull up the rest of your top 3, and the first driver we're going to pull in is second-place finisher Tyler Harrison, who got it done. I think it all went according to plan, Tyler. We talked to you in the pre-race just after we started gridding and pacing around, and you said, I want to try to get stage points. I want to focus on getting a solid finish, try to alleviate that point split. You're 27 points back from the cutoff line. I think tonight you accomplished your goal.
I'll tell you what, Bradley, like this track almost didn't let me do that. Be honest with you, right after that stage, I was I was trailing Justin Ritchie for the first couple laps and was trying to put pressure on him. And the next thing I know, I'm following in his line, and in the infield, I clipped the wall and I had wheel damage for the rest of the race. So the good old ROVAL almost didn't let me get one off here, but just really, really stoked to finally get a podium finish here in the Racing Revolution League this season, man. It's been a rough start to the year, but finally got some consistency. So just happy to get a top 3 out of this and do as you said, right? Just maximize points and get a good finish out of this.
We absolutely needed that. And I know it's been a little bit of a drought here for the 45 team. And it's been both in the Cup and here in the Truck Series. Just kind of wrong place, wrong time for a lot of these races, things going wrong. And in the 45, just not able to get out of it.
Yeah, it's really just boiled down to just being able to close out my races. You know, I felt like I've had really good speed in the middle, or something happens mid race where it kind of shuffles me back, right? But this tonight felt like a really nice complete race to get a good finish. You know, despite the little hiccup smacking into the wall there, really just kind of running top 3 most of the race, and this is the jolt that we need ultimately to kind of keep the momentum going. So hopefully we build on this for not only the trucks this week. I won't be here next Monday, but hopefully the following Monday we can keep this momentum going and even keep this momentum going on the Cup Series.
Well, we'll go to Kentucky in 1 week's time. It'll be kind of similar to what you guys were doing on the banking here tonight, but complete opposite driving style and a different discipline altogether. I know you said you're going to be off there, but following up on that week after that, we'll be at Nashville Super Speedway. So another track very similar, but a little less banking.
Yeah, that one will be a fun one too. That's one of the tracks that I've kind of struggled on, given it's I believe it's concrete.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to run decent at Dover, but for whatever reason, Nashville's always been a little bit of a question mark to try and figure out how to run there. But you know, I got really good teammates with Lightning Fast Motorsports or BDE on the truck side that, you know, I can kind of work with here and pick their brains, because you know, Justice and TK have a tendency to run pretty good there. So hopefully I can get some good notes from them and keep the momentum going here.
Well, I heard something there in the background. I'm not sure if it was a cat or a door, but
it's my cat yelling at me and not giving her enough attention. So, you know,
all right. Well, you can thank your cat. Thank anybody else, Advent Studios, whoever you got there. Tyler, congratulations for second place. Go ahead and shout them out.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, shout out to my amazing girlfriend Tia, who always tunes in for the races, whether that be on Wednesdays or occasionally on Mondays. So, always appreciate her love and support. Of course, having studios on the truck this week, and big shout out to Recharge Rally. My buddies AJ and Ryan, the Rally Daddy, sponsoring the first couple races of the Cup Series. I haven't had a chance to give them a huge shout out, but they're super supportive of what I do. So I appreciate them a ton for, supporting me and supporting the league ultimately as well. Mr. Detail Ceramic Pro, Cars and Wings. As I said before, my teammates Justice, TK, and Jacob. I'll give a little shout out to, I know you talked to him already, but Mr. Jeremy Van Ginsbergen. He's kind of been the brain pick on some of these road courses as well, and he's always been an open book for me and any questions to try and run good here. So big shout out to Jeremy, honestly. And then of course Racing Resolution, Coastal Financial, Chapman Environmental, Earhart Homes, Butt Kicker, Ingenuity Power Systems, and of course you guys at Vspeed. You guys always put on a really good show here, and it's always a fun to look back on and watch these races back. You do an awesome job every week.
Appreciate the compliments, and appreciate you having us. I think you were the introduction to this league. So yeah, again, extending that thanks, and thank you to everybody that tuned in here tonight. Tyler Harrison, second place, 4 laps led, got a stage victory. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time at Nashville.
Yes, sir.
And that moves us on to our final podium finisher. It's Cody Anderson in the number 20. I knew it was going to happen someday, Cody. We're going to get you back up here in this booth, and it looks like here tonight, it was your day to shine. I thought it was going to be at Chicago, and then I don't know if the wheel turned off or what exactly happened there, but no mistakes here tonight. We didn't have a crash under pacing.
No, I made sure to tell Richie that once we hit the stage, yell at me in game to make sure that I'm paying attention the whole time under caution.
Well, I have a little bit of a mic difficulty here with you. I don't know if you're on your stand microphone. I did pick you up just enough there, but we go back to the start of this race, the same kind of strategy, the same approach that you had at Chicago. You were a little bit back on qualifying pace, but you had the long run speed. So how do you find that balance there where you don't push yourself in qualifying, just get your solid spot and then know the pace you're going to drive the whole time?
That's actually for qualifying. I actually spun my tires on the exit of one of the corners, so I lost about 3/10 in qual. But during the race, it was more of just seeing, I knew Burns was going to run away with it and short pit. A lot of it was just finding the pace of the other guys in front of me and just trying to stay close enough to where if it came down to it, I can make a late lunge to get that position.
Well, and you kept them honest. I know there with Tyler, you guys went back and forth there a couple different times, get within a couple tenths of each other, and then he would back up and you'd pull away. You gained some positions there in the first stage to put yourself in a good point stay as well. I mean, how does it feel? I mean, you're starting to look like one of these road course ringers in here.
It honestly feels really good to come in here to Racing Revolution and show that I may not be the best road course driver, but
well, I think we just had a connection issue there with you, Cody, but ultimately you froze up there. You might not be the best road course driver, but you're definitely going to give it your all, I think is essentially what you were coming down to. And you did just that. So congratulations. Glad to have you back up here in the Vspeed booth. Anybody you want to shout out or thank, appreciate you putting Vspeed on the back of your car, and anybody else you want to shout out.
Just you guys for putting on the broadcast week in, week out. David Duke and Keep Digging, Safe Light Auto Glass, Joe Gibbs Racing Esports, Ackerman Seal Coating, Speakeasy, Pen Emporium, and GMS Fabrication.
Cody Anderson, third spot. He's going to look forward to 1 week's time when we go to Kentucky Speedway on May the 5th. We'll see you then.
Thank you.
Having just a slight little connection error there. I don't know if it was a camera issue or an internet issue. We'll try to get that resolved with Cody here in just a moment. But it was a fun one here tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You're never going to miss a single race. We have alerts and 11 leagues going right now at the same time. So there's no shortage of oval action here on Vspeed Sim. For everybody that helped put this together, Nick Alves, Rob Rader over at Racing Revolution, the sponsors with Ingenuity Power Systems, Coastal Financial, Chapman Environmental. This is Bradley Cooper saying so long from Charlotte. We'll see you next time at Kentucky. Till then, stay tracking.